Hey guys, Delaney here. We are in full lambing prep mode and you know what time it is. Deep barn clean out time. This is a pretty big topic that doesn't get talked about too much, and that is prepping for the barn, the actual area that lambing is going to happen. Now, I've seen people with hundreds of sheep have really intricate systems, but here in our dairy, we are a small operation, and our lambing prep is usually a wire panel and zip ties. We still do prep, but it's not kind of at the scale or maybe with the same tools that a lot of the larger places use. So I wanted to bring you guys along today and show you what our small milking room looks like and how it's set up and how we clean it. And then also take you guys into the barn where we have our sheep currently and how we prep for lambs to show up. Like I said earlier, size really does matter. When we are dealing with a small number of ewes lambing, like we're only dealing with 4 this year, my sister is dealing with 10 plus, it's going to change how you set up your barn. So the way the barn is set up is going to be affected by your normal setup, the layout of your barn, your budget, as well as you personally. Someone who is 5'3" like me is going to have to set things up a little differently than someone who is 6'3". Because of all those factors that come into play, I can't really give you guys a good overall how-to video of what you should do because nothing that I say is going to cover everybody, and even me personally has not experienced all the different setups that could possibly happen, all the different tools, all the different ways you can set up your barn. I don't have all of that experience. What I do have is the experience of what we do on our farm. And so today I wanted to share with you our personal setup so that maybe you can take some ideas, maybe see something we do that you're like, oh, that's really good. If you guys see our setup and have some tips or tricks that would make our setup easier, like please leave them in the comments below. We are open to criticism, open to getting better every year. So we're here to help you, but if you have some amazing knowledge, please go ahead and share it. Share with me, share it with the people in the comments below. We'd love to hear it, and I really want to make sure that we have a really nice community where we can really help each other out. We have a fairly large barn that has some chickens, some bunnies, some storage, some hay, our milking parlor, and then our sheep in the back. So we're not going to go through our entire barn setup and layout. We're really going to focus on 2 specific areas in our barn, and that is where our sheep are and our kind of lambing jugs, as well as our milking parlor. So let's get on out there. Zoop. Today we are going to be removing the milking stands as well as some trash cans that have feed in it. I'm also going to be removing the drawers of our dresser, which is an old dresser that's in there for storage purposes. The milking stands, they are pretty heavy. I have moved them before. We'll see if I can manage to put them where they need to be for today. We do this sort of deep clean at least twice a year. I regularly clean out the barn as I milk throughout the week, but during winter and when we're not milking, I don't really come in and clean it, so it gets pretty bad. The whole farm gets pretty bad. So we're going to do kind of a spring cleaning because we want to make sure everything is in place and ready for any visitors coming, but also clean and ready for when the ewes have their babies and we start milking. So we're just going to hop right in. I'm going to start pulling things out. We may not wipe everything down. I'm not sure how much of a deep clean I'll do today. Today might just be removing everything and kind of getting them out. We are getting some rain, so some of that stuff has to still stay under the barn. But I'm going to take as much as I can out, maybe put them in some other rooms in the barn just to get things out of the way, but also to keep them dry. We're going to just go ahead and get that started, and here we go. I also forgot to mention that we removed some of the buckets for the lambing supplies. I removed those previously for our lambing prep series. You can find a link to those up there, but those buckets have already been removed. Another reason why we are doing a deep clean is for shearing purposes. We used this room last year for our shearer to come in and shear our sheep, and so removing the stands, and we didn't remove the dresser. I don't think we need to remove the dresser completely for shearing, but we do need to clear out as much as we can to give our shearer enough space to be able to do his job. So right now there's very little space in there. I work around it during my milking, but I'm used to it, and so I still bonk my head a few times. For the most part, I can move around pretty easily, but it does not have enough space for shearing a sheep. That is another reason why we are doing the deep clean and getting everything kind of out, so that we can make sure that the room is prepped and ready for our shearing date.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say. I need a break. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. Face on when I chase like that. Yeah, I play so strong with a knife in the back. I'ma swing home run like a baseball bat. Gonna see me rise, you can hate on that. I don't play both sides, doing me no cap. I'ma ride or die for my dreams on tap. I'ma fly real high, you ain't see me slack. No, it's not how you fall, it's how you get right back up. That's how you get tough. Calluses on my hands so rough, yeah, I call your bluff. I'm not the one, mess with me and come out with none. Cause I'm so done, you had your fun. And now you're gonna face down the barrel of the gun. Cause I got a full clip, put your name on it. But I'ma let you slide cause you ain't worth it. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on.
Hey, so welcome to our sheep section of our barn. You know, about, hi guys. It's from there to the other side, so not too large, but good enough for the 6 sheep that we have currently. And what was really awesome when we bought our farm and moved in is that it had different sections. It was sectioned off. So we have kind of the big entryway aisle, and then we have 2 rooms or 2 sides over here, and then 2 sides over here. We have our hay and our minerals, and then this is just kind of a hangout room, and then another hangout room, and then we have kind of our area for our lambing, and when moms have their babies, we put them in here so that they can bond and they're not being interfered with any other ewes. So we found this panel just out in the field somewhere. One day I was walking the field and I saw it and I was like, that might be a perfect size for a gate. So that's what we did. We just grabbed it and threw it on here. You can see it had these metal things for attaching a gate, but there aren't any gates. I think each of the sections has these, so eventually we'd like to get gates for each section, but for right now we don't, and so we have little zip ties that attach this there. And then we also have can't remember if I attached this. I think this might have been here, but there's this little thing attached here that has a hole, and so we use this. We just use a chain and a carabiner. I think that's how it's pronounced. My husband always makes fun of me for how I pronounce it. But yeah, so we just use that as a gate. And so when the ewes have their baby and they're in here, we give them fresh hay. Right now it has been cleared out, and we've put diatomaceous earth to kill out all the bugs. And then we're leaving it kind of as a resting area for winter. We kind of leave it to kind of clear itself out and have it be kind of really nice and clean when we put fresh bedding in there. And then we will also hook up here a water bin. We don't like it on the ground because I have seen lambs jump into water basins and drown themselves. So we put a little 5-gallon bucket a little higher up, enough to where a baby couldn't jump in. And then we will also just kind of put a pile of hay. We used to have some sort of rope thing that would hold the hay, but hi buddy. But we don't have that anymore, and it didn't really help because it wasn't strong enough to really be much good. So we usually just throw in a sheet or two of the hay. The moms aren't in there for very long. They don't need a ton of food, just enough to kind of get them through maybe a day or two, and then once I find that they're bonding really good, I'll let them out. So that is how we set up our barn. Sorry it's not fully set up. We won't set that up probably a week or two before the first due date. If for some reason there's premature labor or whatever, we can kind of set it up in the moment. It's not too difficult. So that's why it's not top of the list of things to do. We have a lot more things we gotta do to prep. So we focus more on those things than getting this particular room set up, because we can do that pretty easily in the moment if we need to. You don't want it too small because sometimes the ewes will crush their babies on accident. They'll sit on them, especially if they've had a rough labor and they're having a hard time standing. And so we found that this area is actually really nice. It's probably on the larger side, but when you have 2 or 3 babies in there, it doesn't seem too big. Yeah, works for us. And that's how we do our lambing jugs. If we end up with having 2 moms, we will add another gate. We've just never had that issue. None of our girls have been due that close together. We had one problem where they did have babies, but it was on day 1.5. And I was like, it's good enough. We can pull the one out and put the other one in. So we have an option to do 2 or 3 jugs if we needed to. We just don't need to because we don't have that many and they're not that tight of a lambing. And I think that's it for this area. It's not too glamorous. It's just where the sheep are, and then we kind of created our lambing jug. Okay, we finally got the milking room set up and organized. Took a lot longer than I was expecting it to, but it looks great. I'm super excited about it. We don't have our second stand or the food trash cans or the ramp in place because we're gonna have our shearer come in and shear, and I want to make sure he has enough space. The other thing I have to do is I have to clean the milk machine. It got pretty dirty, and so I have to kind of sterilize that before we milk. But other than that, we are good to go. Everything's been wiped down and cleaned. I'm super excited. This was one of those things that was just nice to get done. And so I'm glad it's done and we can move forward and get some more things done on the farm. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing some of the behind the scenes of our barn, how we set up for lambing, and our whole clean out process. There is a lot of living that happens out there in the barn, so getting it nice and fresh for next year's group of lambs is really important to help make me feel good and like I am ready to take on the next lambing season. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell to be notified when our next video comes out. You can follow us on social media at Ewe and Me Creamery, that's EWE for you. Ewe and Me Creamery on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in our next video. Bye.